Tantor Audio presents The Believers by Katie French, narrated by Carla Mercer-Meyer. Previously on The Breeders, New Mexico, year 2092, male-to-female ratio 9:1. 16-year-old Riley Mimic is in hiding. Girls of reproductive age are worth a lifetime's wages to the breeders, the group of doctors using cruel experiments to bolster the dwindling human race. The breeders control everything: the local warlords, the remaining factories, and the fuel. They have unchecked power in this lawless society, and they're hunting for girls. When her stepfather, Arn, never returns from a trip to town, their existence falters. Knowing she's his only chance at survival, Riley disguises herself as a boy and drives headlong into her worst nightmare. In town, she finds Arn in lockup on a false allegation of stealing. Clay, the sheriff's #1 man, arrives and forces the warden to release Riley and Arn. Yet that night, the sheriff's men attack their homestead. When daylight comes and the dust settles, she finds Arn dead and her mother and auntie gone. Alone and starving, things look bleak for Ethan and Riley until peace offerings appear. Food from Clay. When Ethan is bitten by a coyote, only Clay can get the supplies to save him. Riley lets him in and realizes he knows where they're keeping auntie and her mother. Hoping she can still keep her gender from him, she talks Clay into taking them back to town. Back in town, Clay and Riley find her mother is gone, sold to the breeders. Auntie charges her with finding her mother before the breeders can run their terrible experiments. On the journey, they are waylaid by Clay's friend Bennett, who drugs them and tries to sell them to savage natives known as the Riders. After a shootout that leaves their enemies dead, they make their way to an abandoned town. There they find a lunatic gunman who attacks and shoots Riley. Riley wakes in the breeders' hospital strapped to a bed. It appears Clay has sold her when he found out she was female. She's irate, but vows to find her mother. Betsy, the very strange and very pregnant tour guide, tells her that her mother was trapped here, but either escaped or was killed. Now Riley knows she must get out and fast. Her escape attempt leads her to the breeders' most horrific experiment. A room full of unconscious pregnant women used as human incubators. She is horrified to learn her mother is one of them. When she gets in a scuffle with the guard, they sentence her to the same fate. Just when she thinks she'll be a vegetable, Clay shows up with his father and Ethan in tow to barter for her release. Still suspicious of Clay, she rides with them to an abandoned house for the night. Riley tells Clay he must help her save her mother. Clay disagrees, arguing there's no way to break into the highly guarded hospital. She and Ethan go alone. Ethan and Riley arrive at the hospital where a trap is set. Clay's mother, Dr. Nessa Vandewater, uses Riley as bait to draw her son back to the hospital so she can reconnect. Clay follows, and Nessa gives him an ultimatum. Stay with her and she'll allow Riley, Ethan, and her mother to live. Clay refuses, knowing the deal is sour. He fights his father, the sheriff, killing him. The final gun battle ensues. Clay dives into the fray, hoping to save Riley and her family. Riley, realizing her love for Clay, helps him fight off the guards. In the battle, they both are wounded, but they make it to the van alive. Holed up at an abandoned church, Clay and Riley finally confess their feelings. Reunited as a group, they head back into the lawless frontier to save auntie. Chapter 1. 5 of us duck behind a boulder scorched by the day's heat as the approaching car's headlights pierce the night. "Get down," Clay whispers, drawing up his revolver. The steeliness of his voice sends gooseflesh galloping over my arms. I curl up, my knees tucked into my chest, my back dug into the boulder's hard surface. Beside me, Ethan scrunches down until he's a little bit of a thing. A wiry jackrabbit of a kid with his bony arms around his knees. When I lay my hand on his shoulder, he's trembling. Mama crouches on the other side of him, one hand wrapped around her pregnant belly, the other on Ethan's arm. Even though we've cropped her hair short and she wears men's clothing, it'll be easy to tell she's a woman. No man has a stomach that round unless he's got a belly full of tapeworm. Rayburn, the breeder's doctor who helped us escape, sits beside her, clutching one of Clay's revolvers to his chest. I roll my eyes. A gun in Rayburn's fist is like a handsaw in the hands of a toddler, just as useless as it is dangerous. I heft the rifle. The warm stock fits snugly in my palm like it was made for me. I'm a decent shot, even in the dark, but I've got 5 shells left, maybe. 5 precious shells. I try not to think about what will happen when the bullets are gone. Clay shifts beside me, his thigh brushing against mine. I know this low crouch hurts his wounded leg. All night he's walked beside me without complaint, but he's getting weaker. The speckle of sweat on his brow is unmistakable, no matter how many times he wipes it away when he thinks I got my eyes on the horizon. He hasn't had time to heal. But how could he? We've been driving and starving for days. Then our truck ran out of gas yesterday. We knew it would happen. It didn't make it any less of a punch in the gut when it did. The sound of a car motor reaches us, a wheezy, choking sound. Whatever approaches is not some new souped-up breeder's vehicle, but that doesn't mean they're friendly. Everyone on this road is our enemy the way I figure. The chugging motor draws closer, the ground vibrating in anticipation. I press my back to the rock and look up at the sky, trying to slow the patter of my heart. I recognize a constellation amongst the splattered stars, but I can't remember the name. Cassiopeia? Andromeda? 6 pinpricks of light in the shape of a W. My stepdaddy Arn used to teach me stars' names, pointing with his calloused fingers, drawing lines to connect them. Now Arn's a few months dead, and my memories of him are fading. I look away and push the sadness down deep. Then the car is upon us, headlights streaking everything into long black shadows. We all crouch together and wait, breathe, pray. The car rumbles past, tires bumping down the pitted road. One red taillight glows as they continue along their way. I blow out a breath and wonder where they're headed, hopefully to a town not far from here. We need food and a car if we're ever going to get back to Auntie. A hand on my chest draws me out of my thoughts. Clay's tensed arm presses me back to the boulder. I open my mouth to protest, but then I hear it. The squeal of brakes. The slam of doors. They've stopped. They're getting out. Mama's hand tightens around my arm. Rayburn looks at me through his greasy black curls, fear etched on every feature. He pushes up his glasses, the revolver wobbling in his hand. In the moonlight, I find Clay's face. Beneath his cowboy hat, his brow is folded, his lips a tight line. He's calculating. How many shots to take them out? What angle? I can see the discharge of his gun in my mind's eye. Hopefully it won't come to that. We can't waste bullets. Footsteps head our direction, boots scraping the pavement, slow and steady. 2 sets, 2 men. Each step toward us makes my heart lurch. With my back to the boulder, I can't see them, and it's making me crazy. There's only one reason they'd have stopped. They spotted us. I shift, and Clay's hand tightens. "Stay down," he breathes in my ear. Then he stands. What in God's name is he doing? I reach for him, my heart slamming in my chest. Is he trying to get himself killed? "Ho there," he shouts. He levels his revolver. "That's close enough." I rise up ever so slightly and peer over the boulder. 2 men stand in the middle of the busted 2-lane highway. The first is tall and skinny with a wide-brimmed hat and a shaggy beard. His bug eyes and long neck make him look like a lizard in a trench coat. I can't make out the rest of his features, but his clothes are worn and holey. Maybe he's a rancher or a lower-class road gang member. The man beside him is a little better dressed in patched jeans and a sleeveless leather jacket. His head is bare, and the moon reflects off the bald surface. He's wearing cracked glasses that make him look owl-like. "Whoa, friend," Owlman says, holding up his hands in a gesture of surrender. He's missing both pinkies. "That's quite a pistola you've got there. Give her a rest. We come in peace." Clay shakes his head, his aim never wavering. "Ain't nobody come in peace these days. Turn round and get back in your dirt wagon." Lizard Man chuckles behind his scraggly beard, his neck bobbing back and forth. He pushes back his hat and narrows his bug eyes. "Well, now," he drawls slowly, "that ain't too neighborly. We just stepped out to take a piss. We ain't got guns." "You ain't got guns showing," Clay says. "Doesn't mean you ain't got guns. You can take a piss a couple miles down. Now get back in your car or I'll stop asking nice." He thumbs down the safety with a click that cuts through the desert. The 2 men stand stock still, hands at their sides. Lizard Man tilts his head slightly, considering Clay. "Ain't nobody had bullets in these parts for months. What you so worried about us seeing behind that boulder?" He narrows his eyes and takes a step forward. "I know you ain't alone." A smile curls on his mouth, slow and nasty. Clay's jaw hardens. "I asked you nicely." He takes a step forward, aiming. "This is how I ask now." The gun fires. The shot cracks through the night like a bomb. Mama gasps. The gunpowder spark lights up Clay's face, his eyes squinted, his jaw granite. Lizard Man whirls sideways, left arm out like a snail. A spray of blood wets his partner's shirt. Lizard Man staggers twice and falls to his knees, facing his friend. Bent over and clutching his wound, Lizard Man stares. Then he starts howling. "Clay," I whisper, "will he shoot them both? We need every bullet in that gun." He says nothing, just keeps aiming. Lizard Man half runs, half staggers back to the car. Blood plops on the pavement with a heavy, wet sound. His partner pushes up his round. Blood splattered glasses, fear crinkling his face. "You didn't have to," he shouts as he turns to run. "You didn't have to shoot him." Clay narrows his eyes, still aiming. "I don't have to shoot you either." Owlman lets out a little squeal as he runs back to the car and jumps into the driver's side. The car engine chugs to life, and they peel out in a spray of gravel. When the taillight is a little red dot in the distance, Clay slumps down beside me. I place my hand on his arm, smiling, but once I see his face, my smile fades. Sweat sprinkles his forehead and rolls down his neck. His face is pale, yet his cheeks blaze red. The revolver clatters to the dust as his arm sags against the boulder. The calm gunslinger act has cost him. Leaning over to him, I wipe the sweat off his brow with my sleeve. "Clay," I whisper, "you did it. You scared him off." I press my hand to his cheek tenderly. I hate seeing him like this. His hand cups mine, his sky-blue eyes shining in the moonlight. There's no smile on his face. "This time." Slowly, he reaches for his revolver and flicks out the chamber. 5 bullets rest in their cylindrical beds. He frowns and snaps the barrel back with an awful click. Rayburn's revolver has 6 shells, and I have 5. I know what he's thinking. What happens when we run out of bullets? What happens to us? My mama stands, drawing my 8-year-old brother Ethan up with her. Her cotton t-shirt flutters against the swell of her newly pregnant belly. "Can you walk?" she asks Clay softly. He nods, pushing up, hiding a wince of pain behind a small quirk of his mouth. As I help him stand and take a sip of water from our canteen, a chilly wind stirs. Clay's body shivers. Then he throws his arm around me and shuffles forward. We walk on the shoulder of the road, north, toward home and whatever awaits. Chapter 2. In the moonlight, Rayburn and Clay crouch over 2 pieces of road map laid out on a boulder and squint at the jagged lines carving up the paper. "Our approximate location puts us, right about here." Rayburn presses his index finger into a dimple on the map. Then he looks up, pushing his glasses up the bridge of his nose. "I think." "How do you know that?" Clay's eyes narrow as he flicks a glance at Rayburn. "And how we know you on the straight and narrow now, and not leading us right back in Breeder's territory." Clay's hand floats slowly toward the revolver at his hip. Rayburn blanches, his pale face growing paler. His pimpled jowls jiggle as he watches Clay's hand near the pistol. I step in. "He saved us, member. He saved you." I put my hand on Rayburn's hunched shoulder, and he flinches at my touch. "Ray stitched you up. If it weren't for him, you wouldn't be walking." Clay frowns. "I ain't walking so good." The distrust seems to fade as he mulls over what I said. He leans over the map again. "Where you say we was?" Rayburn, swallowing hard, peers over the moonlit highway. The blacktop carves through the desert like a hard black line, marred here and there by missing pavement or a burnt-out car husk. He points at the road, his chubby face scrunched up. "This road runs north and south." "I know that," Clay says, jabbing a finger at the North Star. Rayburn nods, blinking hard. "Yes, well, we're heading, north, and we've walked approximately 10 miles, so that puts us here." He pokes a finger into the folds of the map, and the paper crinkles softly. Clay pushes back his Stetson and peers down, frowning. I know a pissing contest when I see one, so I stand up and brush the dust off my knees. Clay looks up at me. "Where you off to?" His frown fades as he gazes at me, and the corners of his mouth lift slightly. "You two don't need me to fight about where we're headed. We all know we head north till we find a town. No map needed for that." Both men frown at me. I sigh and gesture down the ridge. "I'll see about Mama and Ethan." Clay nods, his good hand sliding up to stroke my calf. One gentle caress, and he's back to arguing with Rayburn about the map. I think about where we've come from and where we're headed. With the sheriff dead, there's no telling what happened to Auntie as his housekeeper. Clay's hell-bent on claiming his rightful place as leader of his pa's town. But all I want to do is get my family together under one roof. That, and somehow keep Nessa Vandewater off our trail. I walk down the little dirt incline to where Mama and Ethan sit side by side, their packs behind them to prop them up. Ethan's head rests on Mama's shoulder, her arms slung behind him. I sit across from them, draping my arms over my knees. Mama smiles at me and runs a hand through her short dark hair. Take a load off, honey lamb. She pats her lap. You want to rest your head? Nah, thanks. I lift one of our plastic water jugs from where it rests against her pack. It feels dangerously light as it sloshes against my hand. I bite my lip and put it down. My throat is starting to feel like the desert floor, but I can hold out a little while longer. When I set the jug down, I get a glimpse of Mama's bare feet peeking from under her pants. Oh, God, Mama! I point at the open sores, red and weeping, where her shoes have rubbed the skin away. Why didn't you say something? She shrugs, looking down at her destroyed feet. The skin on one heel looks like raw meat. She touches it gently with a finger. Nothing to be done. Rayburn has some cream he said he'd give me when he gets done fretting over that map. The burned half of her face lifts slightly, the rutted skin rippling like a wrinkled bedshirt. We could have stopped, I say, digging in Rayburn's pack. I find the tin of cream, lift her right foot into my lap, and start applying. I forget that you ain't been walking much. She nods, but says nothing. Her right hand strays to the breeder's ankh, the cross with the oval head branded on the inside of her wrist. Her thumb rubs the raised flesh, and her face darkens. Images flash through my mind before I can stop them. A hospital bed with wrist restraints. A red-haired guard sliding his fingers up my leg. Betsy's ringlet curls bouncing from side to side as she fixes me with her sad puppy dog look. Betsy. Picturing her face is another punch in the stomach. Did the breeders kill her? Did they put her under and take her to the Plan B room because she helped me? I shiver. Cold? Mama asks, studying my face. She purses her chapped lips. Yeah. I shift my eyes to the moon and try not to think about the breeders. I finish her right foot and reach for her left. Ethan stirs and blinks at me through his dark bangs. I'm hungry, Riley. What we got to eat? I hate this question. Not much always seems to be the answer. I shrug and try to think of something light to say. Rayburn baked a sugar rum cake, but he's letting it cool on the windowsill. I lift my eyes to my little brother. I think Clay's got some ice cream under his Stetson, too. Shut up, Ethan says tiredly. Then his mouth quirks. I got some chocolate in my pocket. Wanna see? I lean forward and muss his hair. Don't even joke about chocolate less you really got some. I might get so crazy I eat you up instead. I lean forward, grabbing for him, my teeth gnashing wildly. He pulls back, squealing. The broad smile on his face warms my heart. I go back to doctoring Mama's feet. The joking helps lighten the mood, but doesn't fix how skinny Ethan is. The shirt Clay found him hangs so loose it's like a skeleton's wearing it. I dig a hunk of jerky out of the pack and toss it to him. He snatches the meat, frowns, and then sets to gnawing. Rayburn and Clay shuffle over the ridge. Rayburn points at one half of the map and holds it out to Clay. Clay pushes it away, his face stern. When he turns to say something to Rayburn, he tumbles down in the dust, his legs folding under him, his bandaged hand out to brace himself. When he hits the ground, he cries out in pain. Clay! I jump up and run to him. His jeans are covered with dust, and there's a red spot blooming through the fabric on his thigh, where I know his bullet wound to be. You're bleeding. He pushes my hand away. I'm fine. Sweat glistens on his forehead, and his face is white. Rayburn, I say, feeling a nervous flutter in my chest. I point at Clay's leg. He's bleeding. Rayburn kneels down. We need to get your pants off. Clay smirks. Rayburn, you know you ain't my type. He waves a dismissive hand. Leave me alone. He turns his gaze away, the pain tightening his features. I shake my head, touching his leg delicately. Blood seeps through his pants. Come on, I say, holding out my hand. We gotta get your pants off. He's a doctor. Clay frowns at my hand, but finally takes it. Throwing his arm over my shoulder, we limp to a clump of cacti, Rayburn following behind. Clay gives me a pained look and drops his jeans. Heat flares into my cheeks as my eyes stray past his blue boxer shorts. Then I see his leg and all heat drains out of me. The bullet wound Rayburn so carefully stitched back in the church has busted open. Rayburn shuffles over and squints at the wound. It isn't healing. He looks up at me, and then at Clay. It'll get infected if it doesn't close up. Infection out here means death. I grip Rayburn's arm hard. What do we do? Rayburn runs a hand through his black curls. I could suture it, but it'll only open up again. If he stayed off his leg for a week or so. Not a chance on your life, Clay says, palming sweat off his forehead. Rayburn sighs. Then he blows out a breath. The only chance is to cauterize. I snap my head to Rayburn in horror. You mean burn his leg? Rayburn nods gravely. I don't like it any more than you do. He begins twisting his hands together nervously. I'm fine, Clay says, reaching down to draw up his pants. I put a hand on his chest and feel the sweat seeping through his cotton shirt. I stare into his beautiful face, flushed with strain. I can't let you die. His good hand reaches up to stroke my cheek. The softness of his gaze turns my world upside down. Please, I whisper. He gives me a quick nod. Then he looks at Rayburn. We got any whiskey? Rayburn shakes his head. God damn. He unbuckles his pants. Then let's get this over with. We build a fire behind a butte, hoping that it hides our light from the road. I tend the fire, flicking glances at Clay from time to time. He sits beside the flames, his leg out, his eyes distant. He knows as well as I do that this is going to be awful. He's got his cold-as-steel gunslinger expression set hard on his face. How can he be made of stone when right now my limbs are brittle as tumbleweeds? Mama and Ethan wait for us over the ridge. They don't need to see this. I wish I didn't, but I know I'm not leaving. When the fire's hot, Rayburn and I stand nervously to the side, staring at Clay's wound. What do we use? I whisper, worrying my hands. Rayburn holds up the revolver and shrugs. In the firelight, his expression has never looked so uncertain. He leans into me. This might not work, okay? Burning the surrounding tissues could result in a bigger wound and cell death. He sniffs and thumbs back his glasses. In this light, Rayburn looks 14, not the 22 I know him to be. I place my hand on his slumped shoulder. You told me this is the only way, is it? Rayburn looks up at me, the firelight dancing on his dirty glasses. He nods. Then we do this. We do it quick and we do it right. I squeeze his arm. We do it for Clay. He licks sweat off his upper lip, turns and strides to the fire. Then he leans down and begins heating up the barrel of the gun. Clay looks over at me as I sit down. I'll need something to bite down on. His voice is so even it sounds like we're talking about the weather.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?